Ni hao, I'm Miranda and welcome to Books 101. I always say hi, I'm Miranda and welcome to Books 101. I should change that now. Today I am discussing Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. I know, what an awesome name for an author, Mafi. Now this is just a long awaited review. I read Shatter Me when it first freaking came out, and I had not started my booktube channel yet, and I've always wanted to do this review on Shatter Me. And I was rereading this trilogy because, you know, Ignite Me came out, and now I'm gonna have to order Ignite Me because I cannot find it anywhere. I thought I need to do a review on this trilogy. I just need to. If you're a Shatter Me virgin and you have not read this trilogy, I tell you, it is really, really amazing. If you love YA books that are set in the future, your main protagonist is the female that thinks she's a bit weak but then grows stronger as the books goes on, this is the one for you. Also, if you love love triangles with two sexy dudes that are going after the one girl and heaps of makeout scenes, pick this up. That's how I see it anyway. The first book in the trilogy is called Shatter Me, the second book in the trilogy is called Unravel Me, and the third is called Ignite Me. You also have two novella books, 1.5 book that goes between Shatter Me and Unravel Me is Destroy Me. It's told from the perspective of Warner, which is one of the main lead guy characters in this book. And then you also have Fracture Me, which goes in between Unravel Me and Ignite Me, told by Adam's point of view, which is the other main male character in this book. The female protagonist in this book is Juliet. And if Juliet touches you, you die. It's like no touchy to Juliet. Now this is a futuristic society, you know, the future, it's always blah 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 blah. So society sees her as this major threat because, you know, if she touches you, she kills you. Juliet is kind of locked away from the world. However, she is soon free. I'm not going to give anything away after that. That's more for the spoiler section of this video. Interesting, different idea. I really love this idea. Interestingly written as well, because as you can see, Juliet crosses out freaking everything she writes. Juliet may be saying something or thinking something and then it gets crossed out because she doesn't want to think that. Make sure you just go give it a go and come back and we'll talk spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, click out. Let's talk Shatter Me. I really love Shatter Me, okay? I love it to bits. I am going to be bagging some bits in this book because I find them so funny. Like, there are some bits in this book where you cannot help but just have a good laugh at. Because you just think these characters sometimes are just so... So if I get a bit kind of mean, it's not because I'm being mean because I hate the book. I love this book and I just like to talk and laugh at some parts of this book. Don't worry, I love you, Tahereh Mafi. If you read this book, it definitely starts off really slow. I can remember the first time I read it. It was like a couple of chapters in and you just keep thinking, Juliet girl is so freaking dramatic. The way she's writing in this journal is just so hilarious. And I remember reading it for the first time, I just thought, what the hell am I reading? You know, Juliet in this asylum, your first impression of this girl are, you're really, really dramatic. Everything in your head is really poetic, and the way you think is really poetic. And you're always talking about this freaking bird that flies, and oh, this is bird fly. And one of the interesting things about this book is the crossing out. You don't really get that in books. You know, characters don't really cross out what they're thinking at the beginning. You're just mainly getting what's in Juliet's head. It's interesting to see how she freaking crosses out everything. But one thing I don't get was there was one part where she's like talking about I don't want to waste ink and everything, and I'm thinking, Juliet, here you are crossing freaking out things, writing paragraphs that are really long and then crossing them out. Isn't that wasting ink? Society is very bleak. Juliet keeps quoting the birds. Birds don't fly anymore. This re-establishment has taken over. Things are looking really, really sad for this society. Really interesting to see Tahereh Mafi's interpretation of dystopia. Do not get me wrong, Juliet does grow on me in this book, but in the first 100 pages, she's been locked up for 264 days and she hasn't spoken, she hasn't seen anyone. All of a sudden, Adam pops up. Her cellmate, Adam, which is chucked into her cell. When they meet, you know, Juliet's like kind of coming out of sleep and she's like, you're a boy. Duh, Juliet. You scream before you say you're a boy. Adam can actually touch Juliet. Found out was so beautiful and mysterious because in this book you're just thinking, oh, how can he touch Juliet? Because he'd unravel me. A whole different story. Adam and Juliet, I like them together. I think they're not bad together. Yes, they did know each other in school and everything, but I found there wasn't enough of a backstory to really support that love. I found it was more the airy-fairy love, like, oh, I look at you, look at me, let's go out, let's kiss, let's make out kind of love. And I didn't find it deep love. I didn't find that it grew a lot. I didn't find there was enough of a backstory to really make me feel like they are truly and deeply in love. Now that might be different for some other people, but for me personally, I didn't feel like there was enough of a backstory. The more this book kind of started to go on, I started to become more convinced of their love. But just at the beginning there, I found it a bit too sudden. So much making out, but less talk. Juliet and Adam, their make-out scene, they cannot stop making out. These two characters, all they freaking do is make out. Which isn't bad for Juliet. I mean, if you couldn't touch someone and you finally found out someone you can touch, you'd be making out with that person as well. Now, there's a bit of a love triangle here. Let's talk about, are you on Team Adam or are you on Team Warner? Reading Shatter Me, I remember the first time I was on Team Adam. But in Unravel Me, I started to become Team Warner. So still here, I'm still Team Adam because we don't really know much about Warner. We see Warner as this kind of dark character who's really evil. Makes Juliet, you know, kind of torture that little kid, which I found was absolutely pointless and ridiculous. But I did love how Juliet, you know, harnessed her power and got really pissed off and had to just punch through the wall and just hold him up. I'm just like, go Juliet. I found it so annoying. The amount of time Warner is just like,
I'm trying to help you, Juliet.
And Juliet's just going, you're not trying to help. He actually kind of is. He's kind of making her a bit stronger and wanting her to kind of project her power and come into herself more and not be this really annoying shy girl. He's trying to make her get out there. This is really evident when Juliet grabs him.
I grab his shirt. I stop him before he gets inside.
And she's like,
you disgust me.
And I think that's what Warner's trying to accomplish. Use her power for what it truly is. And it really annoys me about Juliet sometimes. She's like,
I hate having this power where I can't touch anyone.
Juliet, if you own that and you were proud, even though you can't touch anyone, and I know that would be a horrible, horrible thing to not be able to do that, but if you really accepted that and got it into your head that you're actually okay and you're not as crazy as you seem. Go back to this bird. Something about this bird. And it's so funny when Julia and Adam are making out yet again, page 175, and they're having this really deep, heavily make-out scene. They're all in each other's faces. I can see her rage because she's just like,
he pulls back with a logo and then I want him to take his shirt off. I need to see the bird. I need to tell him about the bird.
Yeah, you're making out with this freaking hot guy here, and all you want to see about is a freaking bird. I'm just thinking, oh my god, that I just found that so funny. I just can't imagine that thought running through her head.
I didn't see the bird. I didn't see the bird.
Adam and Juliet then want to escape from Warner. It's really funny on 180 because apparently Juliet is described as this really, really hot girl. All guys are kind of thinking, oh shit, this girl's hot. When Warner is kind of, you know, rude. Oh my god, Juliet. And he's like,
You've ripped your dress.
And he's like,
This one too.
and he rips it more open so there's a slit up the side of her leg. And he's like,
That's
that's like such a pervert. But then I love how Adam like says,
Get your hands off her before I bury a bullet in your head.
page 265, Juliet shoots Warner. No, she didn't actually kill him. Of course, Warner is alive and he's wanting to get her back. But this is the really interesting part because when she's escaping out the window, Juliet realizes Warner can touch her. And this is where you're really thinking, ooh, why can these two guys touch her? The two guys that are in love with her. You know how Warner gave that whole speech before Juliet escaped about how Adam is using her? I really did start denying Adam. I thought, oh yes, you know what? Adam might be actually using her to escape from this place. But then we find out that Adam has a little brother called James. And I think, nah, he's not using her. He actually really loves her and just, you know, wants to run away with it. James, what do you guys think of James, the little brother in this book? I thought he was really cute and he was really, really fun. What did you think when Kenji turned up on the door? What's the deal with Kenji? Kenji, when he was actually working for the people at Omega Point. Now, Omega Point, all movement underground, and I was just thinking, oh my god. You think Juliet's the only one that has powers in this world? And when you find out that that actually happens, you think, oh shit, there are others kind of like her, but with different types of power. We kind of think of Sky High a bit because everyone has all these powers. Juliet gets given this, you know, suit and this sort of thing. Makes me think of Fantastic Four. You know how they all wear those So tell me your thoughts on Shatter Me down below. I really love to know. I am going to be doing a thoughts on video for Unravel Me and Ignite Me, discussing the spoilers of those two books, which will hopefully be up soon. I'm Miranda. Thank you so much for watching. See ya!